Welcome friends. Today we discuss about steam systems. Steam has been popular mode of conveying energy since the industrial revolution. Steam is used for generating power and also used in process industries such as sugar, paper, fertilizers, refineries, petrochemicals, chemical, food, synthetic fiber and textiles. The following characteristics of steam make it so popular and useful to industry. Highest specific heat and latent heat, highest transfer of heat transfer coefficient, easy to control and distribute, cheap and clean inert. Then the properties of steam. The first one is liquid enthalpy. The liquid enthalpy is the enthalpy in the water when it has been raised to its boiling point to produce steam and is measured in kilocalories per kg. Its symbol is HF. Second one, enthalpy of evaporation. The enthalpy of evaporation is heat to be added to the water in order to change it into steam. There is no change in temperature. The steam produced is at the same temperature as the water from which it's produced. But the heat energy added to the water changes state from water into steam and it's the same temperature. It's also called latent heating. Then third one is the steam phase diagram. Already all of us know well known the steam phase diagram, which is temperature enthalpy diagram. Here we studied in the thermal science critical point and saturation water line and saturated liquid line and wet steam region of two phase area and liquid area and superheated steam area. Therefore, there is no explanation needed for that particular diagram. I can go to the next topic. Then steam distribution system. The steam distribution system is the essential link between the steam generator and the steam user. Whatever the source, an efficient steam distribution system is essential if should of the right quality and pressure is to be supplied in the right quantity to the steam using equipment. Installation and maintenance of the steam system are important issues and must be considered at the design stage. The diagram shows a typical steam distribution system. Then some common factors are there while the steam distribution system. First one is the working pressure. The distribution pressure of steam is influenced by a number of factors but is limited by one, the maximum safe working pressure of the boiler, the minimum pressure required at the plant. As the steam passes through the distribution pipe work, it will inevitably lose pressure due to first one, frictional resistance within the pipe work and condensation within the pipe work as heat is transferred to the environment. And second, general layout. General layout and location of steam consuming equipment is of great importance in efficient distribution of steam. Steam pipes should be laid by the shortest possible distance rather than to follow a building layout or road, etc. However, this may come in the way of aesthetic design and architect plan, and a compromise may be necessary while laying new pipes. Then pipe sizing. The objective of steam distribution system is to supply steam at the correct pressure to the point of use. It follows therefore the pressure drop through the distribution system is an important feature. Proper sizing of steam pipeline helps in minimizing pressure drop. The velocity for various type of steam are superheated 50 to 70 meter per second, saturated 30 to 40 meter per second, and wet or exhaust 20 to 30 meter per second. Then the pressure drop. And the diagram shows a pipeline in between two stages, the point 1 and point 2, and the head of the head at the point 1 is h1 and head at the point 2 is h2. In between the length of the pipe there is a pressure loss due to friction, which is hf. The hf is nothing but Darcy-Weisbach equation, which is 4 of L u square divided by 2gd. For f is a friction factor, L is length of tube, and u is velocity of tube, and g gravitational constant, and d is diameter of the tube. Okay, then it is useful to remember that head loss to friction is proportional to velocity squared. Then the friction factor is an experimental coefficient which is affected by the factors including the Reynolds number and the reciprocal of velocity square. Because the values for F are quite complex, they are usually obtained from charts. Then proper air venting. When steam is first admitted to a pipe after a period of shutdown, the pipe is full of air. Further amount of air and non-condensable gases will enter the steam. Although the proportion of these gases are normally very small compared with the steam. When the steam condenses, these gases will accumulate in the pipe and heat exchangers. Precautions should be taken to discharge them. The consequence of not removing air is a lengthy warming up period, reduction in plant efficiency and process performance. And the automatic air vents for steam system should be fitted above the condensate level so that only air or steam air mixtures can reach them. The best location for for them is at the end of the steam mains as shown in the figure. And the steam pipe insulation. The insulation of steam conveying pipes and the steam consuming equipment is very essential to retard the flow of heat from the system to the environment. Broadly, the purpose of steam pipe insulation is as follows. 1. Conserve energy by reducing heat loss and facilitate temperature control of process, prevent condensation of steam, prevent or reduce damage to pipe from exposure to fire or corrosive atmospheres, and control surface temperature for personal protection and comfort. The table depicts the effect of insulating bare pipes, the pipe size and economic insulation thickness and radiation losses. And for the 2-inch pipe, we have 25 mm thickness of insulation is to be done. Without insulation, the radiation loss is 243 kilowatt per meter, and with insulation, without insulation, the radiation loss is 1820. Then the pipe is insulated. The loss is minimized to 243 kilowatt per meter. The comparison of radiation losses for 150 degrees Celsius temperature range. Then the efficient steam utilization. In a steam system, the major scope of improving energy efficiency lies in the utilization part. As shown in the figure, the steam generation and distribution efficiencies are fairly high at more than 80%, whereas the utilization efficiency is only 47%. Because of from the fuel to product, we have many losses. And from boiler we have 20% loss, and from steam systems, which is steam pipelines, we have 5% loss, and during process we have 25% loss. Only 35% of steam is used, energy is used for product development. Then again the 15% of steam is converted to condensate, then it is returned to the boiler. During the condensate passing pipelines, we have 5% efficiency losses. Okay, then proper selection and operation and maintenance of steam traps. And what is steam trap? The purpose of installing the steam traps is to obtain fast heating of the product and equipment by keeping the steam lines and equipment free of condensate. Condensate means the liquefied form of water, air and non-condensable gases. A steam trap is a valve device that discharges condensate and air from the line or piece of equipment without discharging the steam. Then the functions of steam traps. There are three important functions of steam traps. One is to discharge condensate as soon as it is formed, and second, not to allow steam to escape, and third, to be capable of discharging air and other condensable gases. Then types of steam traps. There are three basic types of steam traps into which all variants fall. All three are classified by international standards. Then first one, thermostatic, which is operated by change in fluid temperature, which means the temperature of saturated steam is determined by its pressure in the steam space. Steam gives up its enthalpy of evaporation, producing condensate at steam temperature. As a result of any further heat loss, the temperature of the condensate will fall. A thermostatic trap will pass condensate when this lower temperature is sensed. As steam reaches the trap, the temperature increases and the trap closes. Then second type, mechanical, which is operated by change in fluid density. This range of steam traps operate by sensing the difference in density between steam and condensate. These steam traps include ball float traps and inverted bucket traps. In the ball float trap, the ball rises in the presence of condensate, opening a valve which passes the denser condensate. Which is the inverted bucket trap. The inverted bucket floats when steam reaches the trap and rises to the shut the valve, both the essential mechanical in their method of operation. Then third one, thermodynamic, is operated by change in fluid dynamics. The thermodynamic steam traps rely partly on the formation of flash steam from condensate. This group includes thermodynamic disk impulse and labyrinth steam traps. And first one is inverted bucket steam traps. The inverted bucket steam trap is shown in the slide. As its name implies, the mechanism consists of an inverted bucket which is attached by a lever to a valve. An essential part of the trap is the small air vent hole in the top of the bucket. In figure 1, the bucket hangs down, pulling the valve off its seat. Condensate flows under the bottom of bucket, filling the body and flowing away through the outlet. In second diagram, the arrival of steam causes the bucket to become buoyant. It then rises and shuts the outlet. In the third diagram, the trap remains shut until the steam in the bucket has condensed or bubbled through the vent hole to the top of the trap body. It will then sink, pulling the main valve off its seat. Accumulated condensate is released and the cycle is repeated. In diagram 2, air reaching the trap at startup will also give the bucket buoyancy and close the valve. The bucket vent hole is essential to allow air to escape into the top of the trap for eventual discharge through the main valve seat. The hole and pressure differential is small, so the trap is relatively slow at venting air. At the same time, it must pass a certain amount of steam for the trap to operate once the air has cleared. The parallel air vent fitted outside the trap will reduce the startup time. The main advantages of the inverted bucket steam traps are: the inverted bucket steam trap can be made to withstand high pressures. Like a flat thermostatic steam trap, it has good tolerance to water hammer conditions. Can be used on superheated steam lines with the addition of check valve on the inlet. Then failure mode is usually open, so it's safer on those applications that require this feature. For example, turbine drains. Then the limitation is the small size of hole in the top of the bucket means that this type of trap can only discharge air very slowly. The hole cannot be enlarged as steam would pass through too quickly during normal operation. Then second type of steam trap is thermodynamic. In thermodynamic steam trap is an extremely robust steam trap with a simple mode of operation. The trap operates by means of dynamic effect of flash steam as it passes through the trap, as depicted in the figure. And the only moving part is the disc above the flat face inside the control chamber or cap. And the hot condensate flowing through the inlet passage into the chamber. On startup, incoming pressure rise the disc and cool condensate plus air immediately discharged from the inner ring under the disc and out through 3 peripheral outlets. Is for reference is figure 1. Then figure 2, hot condensate flowing through the inlet passage into the chamber under the disc drops in pressure and release flash steam at high velocity. This high velocity creates a low pressure area under the disc, drawing it towards its seat. In figure 3, at the same time, the flash steam pressure build up inside a chamber above the disc, forcing it down against the incoming condensate until it's teeth on the inner and outer rings. At this point, the flash steam is trapped in the upper chamber and the pressure above the disc equals the pressure being applied to the underside of the disc from the inner ring. However, the top of the disc is subject to a greater force than underside as it has a greater surface area. Eventually, the trapped pressure in the upper chamber falls as the flash steam condenses. The disk is raised by the now higher condensate pressure and the cycle repeats. Then third type is float and thermostatic trap. The ball float type trap operates by sensing difference in density between steam and condensate. In the case of trap is shown in the first diagram, which is 3.10a, and condensate reaching the trap will cause the ball float to rise, lifting the valve off its seat and releasing condensate. As can be seen, the valve is always fluided and neither steam nor air will pass through it. So early traps of this kind were vented using manually operated cock at the top of the body. Modern traps are using thermostatic air vent as shown in figure. This allows the initial air to pass whilst the trap is also handling condensate. Okay, then the efficient steam utilization and energy saving opportunities. The first one is monitoring of steam traps. For testing a steam trap, there should be an isolating valve provided in the downstream of the trap, and the test valve shall be provided in the trap discharge. When the test valve is opened, the following points have to be observed. First one is condensate discharge. Inverted bucket and thermodynamic disc type traps should have intermittent condensate discharge. Float and thermostatic traps should have continuous condensate discharge. Then thermostatic traps can have either continuous or intermittent discharge depending upon the load. If the inverted bucket traps are used for extremely small load, it will have a continuous condensate discharge. Then second one is flash steam. This shall not be mistaken for a steam leak through the trap. The user sometimes get confused between flash steam and leakage steam. The flash steam and leakaging steam can be approximately identified as follows. First one, if steam blows out continuously in a blue stream, it is a leaking steam. If a steam floats out intermittently in a whitish cloud, it is a flash steam. Then continuously steam blow and no flow indicate there is a problem in a trap. Then immediately we can check. Then avoiding steam leakages. Steam leakage is a visible indicator of waste and must be avoided. It has been estimated that a 3 mm diameter hole on a pipeline carrying 7 kg per centimeter square steam would waste 33 kiloliters of fuel oil per year. And the table presented the significance of losses through the steam leaks. That for example, 3 mm diameter of steam leak hole present in the pipeline, which leads to leak to 116.4 at 3.5 kg of steam loss tons per year, and 192.7 at 7 kg per centimeter square tons of steam per year. This is the loss due to the steam leakage. This must be avoidable. Then second, providing dry steam for process, which means using steam separators. The best steam for industrial process heating is the dry saturated steam. Wet steam reduces total heat in the steam. Also, water forms a wet film on heat transfer and overload traps and condensate equipment. Superheated steam is not desirable for process heating because it gives up heat at a rate slower than the condensation heat transfer of saturated steams. The steam separator may be installed on the steam main as well as on the branch lines to reduce wetness in the steam and improve the quality of steam going to the units. By changing of direction of steam separators causes the entertained water particles to be separated out and delivered to a point where they can be drained away as condensate through a conventional steam trap. Then other points of other points of energy saving opportunities are utilizing steam at the lower acceptable pressure for process, minimizing heat transfer barriers and proper air venting and condensate recovery, and insulation of steam pipelines on hot process equipments, And finally, flash steam recovery. These are the energy saving opportunities of steam pipelines. Then we have discussed one tutorial problem. In a crude distillation unit of refinery, 50 metric tons per hour of crude oil is heated using saturated steam in a heat exchanger from 35 degrees Celsius to 85 degrees Celsius. Plant is operating for 8,000 hours per annum. Consider specific heat of crude as 0.631 kilocalories per kg degree Celsius. The plant has two headers operating at 3 bar and 8 bar respectively, passing nearby the heat exchanger. Cost of steam is same for 3 bar and 8 bar at rupees 4.5 per kg. As an energy manager, which of the following option will you recommend to unit based on the annual cost of steam? First one, utilizing 3 bar steam. Second one, utilizing 8 bar steam. The given data from the steam table is pressure at pressure 3 bar and 8 bar, enthalpy for various conditions, which is water, evaporation and steam. This is the problem. Then we can, in the problem, it is a crude oil distillation plant. We have 50 metric tons of crude oil which is to be heated to 35 degrees Celsius to 85 degrees Celsius by the supplying of steam. In the plant we have three type of steams. One is from 3 bar and another one is for 8 bar. The cost is for say cost is 4.50 for say both the steam conditions. Okay, but our question is which steam will be more efficient. So which is our question. Then we directly go to the answer. Then heat gain in crude oil, it is MCP del T. SCP is the specific heat of crude oil is given. Del T means temperature change. Then we get 1577500 kilocalories per hour. Heat gain in crude oil is heat loss in steam, which is heat exchanging process, concept of heat exchanging process. Therefore, heat loss in steam is equal to mass of steam into latent heat of steam. Because here the steam release the heat to the crude oil and steam is converted to the liquid. Therefore, the process is latent heating process or latent cooling process. Therefore, the heat loss in the steam is mass of steam into latent heat of steam. Then option A, which is 3 bar pressure steam. The 3 bar pressure steam having 517 kilocalories of latent heat. Then mass of steam is 3051 kg per hour. Then cost of the expenditure is 10.98 crores. In option B, at 8 bar pressure steam having 489 kilocalories per kg alone, which is lesser than 3 bar pressure. Okay, because in pressure increases, latent heat of evaporation reduces. Refer pH diagram or TS diagram or any properties of pure substance diagrams. Then the mass of steam we have required 3225 kilogram per hour, which is higher amount than 3 bar pressure steam. Therefore, the cost is 11.61 crores. Then the recommendation is option A is recommended as it is found to be economical since the expenditure per annum is less when compared to option B because of pressure demolition. Therefore, the high pressure application we have used only high pressure steam, which is means work delivered, which is a turbine application. For heating process we have used lower pressure steam, which is having higher latent heat. This is the inference from our problem. Okay, thank you.